Man, oh man. Alien Romulus. What a movie. I'm gonna keep it spoiler free until after the rating, but this film marks the 7th entry into the Alien franchise, and it's an in-betweenquel set between the two of the most highly acclaimed sci-fi movies, Alien and Aliens. Now this is more or less my first Alien movie, with me having not seen the originals and seeing Prometheus on demand when I was like 12. I kinda remember liking it, but I can say, without a doubt, I thoroughly enjoyed Alien Romulus. Coming in with an $80 million budget and amazingly directed by Fede Alvarez, this movie primarily takes place on the abandoned space outpost, Romulus. We get to follow a group of young space colonizers that are desperate to get off their mining planet, which is subject to 0 days of sunlight, and with them under very harsh and dangerous working conditions on top of that, so it's a pretty depressing situation. But when they have an opportunity to escape and a chance at a better life, they hatch a plan to steal tech from the abandoned space station Romulus. And well, you can take a guess what awaits them. Now, with me not having seen the originals, I didn't go in with any prior comparisons, and I think that was to my benefit. I was highly looking forward to this film, because when I heard Fede Alvarez was directing it, I was pretty pumped. He directed Don't Breathe, which has its problems, but the tension of that movie and the claustrophobic atmosphere is insane. So with very little knowledge of the Alien franchise, and my only real meaningful time with the series being from watching Alien Isolation playthroughs, with that game having incredible tension and a dreadful heart-pounding atmosphere, I knew Fede could deliver in that field. So that was my only want going into this movie, and boy did he deliver. I love the vibe and the atmosphere that this movie crafts. I'm a big sci-fi movie guy, so the grungy sci-fi tech perfectly crafted by the amazing sets, costumes, and props was a sight to behold on the big screen. And it's elevated immensely by the hard-hitting sound design, the deathly silence of deep space, the satisfying sound of all the switches being flipped, and the beeps and boops of various devices, the sound of massive spacecrafts moaning and creaking as they move into place, just all scratch that part of my brain in all the right ways. The suffocating atmosphere is further set by the highly engaging and eye-catching cinematography by Gallo Oliveras, and the techno and sometimes orchestral heart-pounding score by Benjamin Wallsvich just set the mood so well. I also really love the practical stuff with the little aliens scurrying around in the xenomorph. You can tell that they're sometimes animatronics and or puppets, but I mean that in the best way possible. It all feels so tangible. The body horror and the chest bursting was just all so well done. It made my skin crawl. All that good stuff just came together so well for me, and it just elevates the stellar young cast. I really love the performances in this movie. Kaylee Spaney, Isabella Marquez, Eileen Wu, David Johnson, Archie Renux, and Spike Fern all brought their A game and were very, very enjoyable to watch on screen. The standout for me though was David Johnson. He has a lot to play with character-wise, and he delivers in every aspect. I really hope I see him in more movies. I didn't love all the relationships and dynamics in this movie, but Johnson and Kaylee Spaney were def the highlights and the emotional backbone for this flick. I have problems with some of the plot and some of the things that the characters do. Some of them just make boneheaded decisions, but I just chalked it up to play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And some of the plot is a bit on the nose with how telegraphed it is, which in a worse movie, I would have a bigger problem with. But all that type of stuff just didn't bother me personally all too much. But I could see other people taking bigger issues with them. I mostly forgive the problems with this movie because the journey that it takes you on is a nail-biting ride. Multiple times, I had to sit up in my seat and lock the fuck in because I was not familiar with the Xenomorphs game. They're a problem. The action in the more high-octane sections were so intense, I found myself mouthing the words, "Oh my fucking god," multiple times throughout this film, especially in the third act. I was dead ass on the edge of my seat by the end. The story just takes an unexpected turn, and I loved it so much. But before I get to my rating and talk about spoilers, I want to talk about some numbies. I said earlier that this movie had an $80 million budget, which it uses very, very well. And using movie math and multiplying 2/2.5 to the budget to account for marketing, this movie needs to make about 160 to 200 million to break even. And at the time of recording, Thursday, before opening weekend, Alien Romulus is projected to make 40 million in the US/Canada and 35 million overseas, so 75 million worldwide. So not knowing jack shit, I'd say that's a pretty good start. It's gonna be interesting to see what the second weekend and drop-off numbers are gonna be, and to see if word of mouth carries this movie going forward. But overall, I would say def go see this movie in theaters. It's worth the admission. Unless you have a banger sound system at home, you'll def be missing out on some of what makes this movie so great. And who just doesn't like watching a good movie on the big screen? So dropping a rating on Alien Romulus, I'd have to go with an 8.5. It was so close to being one of my favorite movies of the year, but Dune 2 still holds that crown. But it's still def one of my faves. Some of the writing just holds it back, but it's still highly enjoyable and entertaining. I can't wait to check out the originals. Alright, time for some spoilers. Man, that xenomorph hybrid human shit was creepy as fuck. Movie monsters usually don't scare me too often. It's usually the situation and tension that gets me. But that thing was on another level. Just it rapidly growing and evolving, bones shifting and moving around was just, ugh. I really loved how much time we spent with it too. It really had time to leave its mark on my mind and creep me the hell out. I kept thinking this movie was gonna end and leave it for something for the franchise to explore going forward, but nah. Kaylee Spaney's character had to step up and handle that horrid abomination. And I love the way she did it. It was so intense. That thing was just so uncanny with its human skin and features, combined with the alien xenomorph look. I loved and hated it so much. The way David Johnson played the android was so heartbreaking and menacing at the same time. He so effortlessly flipped the switch from a bumbling kid-like companion to a razor-sharp, calculated machine. There's this one part of the movie where he's rebooting and he just freezes on a dime. It's so well done. I wonder how they did that. But quickly getting into my problems before I end the vid. I didn't really like the way the pregnant lady, played by Isabella Marquez, took that serum. It felt like she was just doing shit to do shit. Like, come on, bro. And them not seeing that rat turn into the xenomorph thing when it was like right next to them felt very Amazing Spider-Man. It was like when Peter didn't see that rat lizard hybrid thing when it was like right next to him. Like, brother, are you blind? But it is what it is. And some characters were just a nuisance, like that Jagoff who was mean to Andy. But I feel like the movie did an okay job at seeding in the distrust within the group. I'm pretty sure there was a dead actor that gets the Grand Moff Tarkin treatment, which was a bit ghoulish. But if his estate and people signed off on it, then it is what it is, I guess. There are probably other problems, but that's more or less what bothered me. But what'd you guys think of Alien Romulus? And if you've seen the originals, how does it stack up against those? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. Twos.